Our timing gate out there by the start and stop gate, which has been nailed numerous times.
Fastest lap by Derek Woolworth, 17.438 seconds.
Interest in our drone races has gone up significantly recently. The one thing we started doing is we started using a lap counter from rclapcounter.com. It's an iLapse system, and this is a transponder off of that. And what this does, it plugs into a 5-volt input on your quadcopter, and it allows you to, when you fly through the gate recognizes your number and records it on the computer. And if you have it hooked up to a set of speakers, it can actually announce your name and your lap time. Now for these, what you want, like I said, what you want to do is you want to plug this into a 5-volt output or a 5-volt power source. Where do you get 5 volts? Well, you can get it from your NASA 32. This board has a NASA 32 on it. Let me move these other ones out of the way. And this one, back here on your flight board, right here, you usually have a couple extra pins that are open. Well, what's happening is you need to feed, if your board is turning on, it's being fed power. And along with that power, these pins output 5 volts. Now you have a signal pin on the top, the middle one is your power, and the lower one is your voltage, as your ground. And so what you want to do is you want to take your transponder and plug it into one of these open pins, and that'll give it 5 volts to run itself off of. Here you can see the transponder is actually connected down here to the board now. And when this is plugged in, 5 volts are put out to this transponder. And the transponder, we tell our flyers that it needs to point out of the starboard side of the quadcopter. Starboard is the right-hand side while facing forward. And let me get one of these batteries here, and I'll go ahead and I'll plug it in. And these have a little red LED indicator on here to let you know that it's actually powered on and should be working. Let me get this plugged in. And here you can see the little red LEDs flashing on there. So you know this is actually getting power now. And I have a low voltage alarm on this quadcopter I forgot about. But this is, you can see the LED flashing, and you know it's actually powered on now. Okay, so what you need to do is make sure this is pointing out the starboard side. Now usually what you can do, you can either cut the wires down and make it a little bit shorter, or you can wrap it around inside. And usually what I do is I bring it inside here, something like this, and I'll put a couple zip ties on there to hold it in place. Now when you have it shooting out the side, you want it to shoot out cleanly out the side. Don't let it point toward one of your motors. Also make sure it's pointing straight out the side. You don't want it pointing like this because you have a less chance of the gate reading you as you fly by. You want it pointing like that, straight out the side. Another option you have to get power to your transponder is to pull it off of your receiver. Your receiver is using 5 volts, usually off of your flight board, such as this one here where I'm actually drawing 5 volts off the NASA 32. And you can plug your transponder into any of the open ports. Just make sure you put the positive and the negative. In this case, the black is negative and the red is positive. And it would just plug in here onto port number, in this case it'd be port number 2, because 3 and 4 are being jumpered so that this thing outputs ppm. Here are the transponders connected into power port 2 on the D4R2. And if I go ahead and I plug power in again, you can see here that it's now drawing power off of the receiver. And that's okay for the most part, as long as your power output can supply enough power. Now in this case, the NASA 32 outputs plenty of power to the D4R, which can then output a little bit more out to this. And like I said, the amp draw on this is extremely low. I don't even know what it is, but like I said, I don't think the NASA 32 board will even know it's there. So this is my current racing quad, and I have it set up with the transponder on it. And you can see here the transponder is underneath the main plate, and then I have the battery strap above it, and I just zip tied both of them to the main plate. And that just makes for a solid mount. And even in a crash, it's probably not going to break both of those zip ties, and the transponder stays in place. The only time I've ever had a problem is when I had to pull down too much of this, and it went like this. And I couldn't figure out why it wasn't reading me going through the gate. Well, you figure that out pretty quick. And if you actually have a battery that small, you just got to remember to take it and move it up to the front like that, so it's not covering up that transponder, and you'll be fine. Now, if your battery straps are too long, the better thing to do is just cut them off a little bit shorter and sew them back up. That way they don't stick off like that. But anyway, this is a very good mount here. And if you look here, you can see the cable actually comes right here, and I actually spliced it, and then it plugs into the NASA 32 board on this one. Actually, this is a CC3D board. And a CC3D board, it just plugs in the exact same way, just into one of the open spots on it. And I just cut that down a lot so I didn't have so much wire hanging around inside there. The only disadvantage is if I ever put this on a different quad where I need longer ones, I'll have to resolder the cables, but who cares? I like it short and I like it clean. And anyway, it looks good. So this is how the proper way to mount it. And like I said, it's pointing out the right-hand side while your quadcopter is facing forward, the starboard side. Anyway, so when you come to our races, you need to have a transponder pointing out the right-hand side. If it's an iLapse compatible, we can make it work with our gate. If it's not, well, then you bought the wrong one. Anyway, if you have any questions about mounting your transponder to your quadcopter, leave them in the comments, and I'll try to help you out as best I can. Thanks for watching.